What is going on, everybody? What is going on? It is your boy Darion, and I am officially here saying that this is the Darion Hopkins Show, where it be sports talk, where it be entertainment, where it be anything that's going on with sports and entertainment world. We will be doing it right here on the Darion Hopkins Show. So if this is your first time ever being here, right here at the Darion Hopkins Show, we highly suggest that you subscribe, hit the bell button, and get the latest news and all entertainment and sports news as well. So I really appreciate you coming by the channel, and we'll see you on the other side. Peace. What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, everybody? It's Darion. I'm back with episode 3 of the Darion Hopkins Show. I am your host, Darion, and I have 2 special guests with me. Family. That's what I have, is family. And I have the legend himself, one of the greatest player in Philadelphia, I say, in my personal opinion.
Thank you.
My family, Mr. Jabbar Kimble. Thank you for coming on to the show.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
I appreciate it. And I have family again. I have family all the way around there. And the head coach of Overbrook and the assistant coach for Overbrook High School, Jabbar Kimble. What's going on, man?
Hey, everything's good, man. Thanks for having me.
I am excited about this because we did a podcast before, but I wanted to do a more in-person interview and talk about, Philadelphia sports, probably your Eagles a little bit. We talked about that off the air, but I want to get into the reasoning of, you taking a head coaching job and y'all transferring from Dobbins, because, I did the play-by-play and reactions for it. And what made y'all make the change from leaving your alma mater Dobbins to going to Overbrook,
which is my alma mater?
Yeah, I know something new now. So I know something new. And what made y'all make the switch to go over there and be in the position that y'all in right now, going into the playoffs, going into states? What made y'all change? Make the shift?
So Jabbar was at Dobbins for coaching for about 8 years or so, close to 10 or so, and so I applied for the head coaching job, and Coach Derek Stanton got the job. That was with the previous principal. So when he came in, I happened to ask, I welcomed him to the school, and I asked him, what type of offense are you running? And he mentioned, I like a up-tempo style of play. And I said, by the way, you know the Loyola Marymount system. I have a tape that's been out called Basketball in the Fast Lane that I've been selling for 10 years. And I said, did you want to, learn about that tape? Learn about the system. And he said, sure. And then I was blessed that he allowed me the opportunity to be the assistant coach and implement the offense. So last year I had great pleasure being assistant coach at Dobbins. And so when, first of all, I have to thank Dr. Johnson at Overbrook, who gave me the opportunity to be the head coach. And obviously when the opportunity presented itself, I was extremely happy. And so I can't thank her enough, because, anyone to give you your first chance to be a head coach, for me, I applied for over 100 jobs, college basketball jobs, junior college, Loyola Marymount I applied for about 4 or 5 times. So they
need to get back with you.
Yeah. So, but this is all part of the journey, paying your dues. I coached at Shoreline Community College in Seattle, and they had the best success they had in 20 years in the NWAC tournament, and we averaged over 100 points a game both seasons. So, coaching is in the blood. It's an opportunity to help our young players be, great men, great student athletes, and just put great men into society and aim high and use my experience to help them better their lives.
So we all know why you really made the switch. We already know. Overbrook has been popular. They, home of Will Smith and everything of that nature. But you came over with Bo to Dobbins, so it was like a better transition for you, knowing that you went to Overbrook. So, what was your thoughts when he became the head coach and he wanted to bring you along?
Oh, I was excited. When the whole point of me going to Dobbins was like you said, Bo, the Kimble name legacy was there. So I actually wanted to, go there, and being from the neighborhood and, try to, help the kids there. And, once we were there, and like you said, he didn't get the job, and then obviously Coach D and Dr. Johnson, they reached out to me, and obviously I talked to Bo about it. I said, hey, look, this might be a good move for us to be able to come over there. You can get your head coaching job. I can continue to do what I do, which is be the assistant, and continue to do my AAU programs in the summertime and help the kids and do everything that I've been doing. And once we kind of talked about it and came in and talked to Dr. Johnson, it was, it was just like a match made in heaven. You know what I mean? So, I was excited.
It seems like y'all gel when both of y'all on the sideline. It's like y'all already know what y'all about to say, because I experienced it being in person when I did the games. So I seen how Bo looked like he's already a head coach at Dobbins anyway. I'm just going to put it out there. You look like a head coach over there anyway, and then you look like a head coach over there. Y'all was just like, it just meshed so well. So coming into Overbrook, what was your expectations? Did y'all see yourselves being this good, or y'all just wanted to go through the process of like, okay, this is like the 76 like, this is the process? Or, did y'all have any players transfer from Dobbins to come over to Overbrook, or, anybody follow in that nature?
Yeah, so Omar Davis came over from Dobbins, and we were very happy to have him. But there was really as you mentioned, it was a great experience coaching with Coach Stanton, because, I implemented the system, and we did tremendously well last year, but they're even doing better this year. I believe they're 21-1, running the same system that I implemented. But I'm happy for them. That's my alma mater. But our expectations at Overbrook, last year I believe they were 1-15. So anything that's to improve the program, I was looking forward to the challenge. The offense that we're running the system is like no other system. It's the best scoring system created for high school and basketball. There's the championship with the Los Angeles Lakers. There's 2 WNBA championships with Paul Westhead and
Phoenix Mercury,
my former teammate Corey Gaines. Cheltenham High School won a championship when Paul Westhead was coaching in high school. Loyola Marymount was the highest scoring team in college basketball, averaging 125 points a game all 3 years we were there. So this is a proven system, and I played 3 systems in this offense. So teaching it to these guys, one of the things they're finding out is it's extremely easy to learn the system, but it's extremely hard to do because of the running. And I'm sure that if I was to ask any of the players, have you ever worked this hard in basketball ever before? I would probably imagine they would all say, we never worked this hard. But that type of work ethic and that type of hard work does pay off. It did for us at Loyola Marymount. I'm sure it did for all the other teams that went in. Conditioning is the number one factor. It's not the shooting. It's the full court trap and the conditioning, and you just pretty much wear your opponent out.
Yeah, unlike him, unlike him, I had high expectations. Having some of the guys in the summer, and Omar Davis, which is our family, he's a cousin. So obviously, when we left, our family wanted him to transfer and come over there and play and be with us. And having some of the guys over the summer and knowing that when we transferred in, we had some guys that were there already that was already in place. Our only senior this year, Mike James, he's a double guy and great student athlete, 3.3 GPA. He's been our driving force down low and one of our best players. So I expected us to definitely do better than they did last year. I was expecting us to make the playoffs. This is the first year. So eventually I expect us to win some championships down the line. I mean, maybe this year, maybe not, but definitely in the near future. That's my expectation.
And to be honest, I got to give Jabbar a lot of credit because Jabbar was the one who actually met a lot of the players in the summer, and they played for his AAU team. So I was blessed to be able to, witness them learn the system in the summer and get their feet wet with that. So that, one, it was just an opportunity to see their strengths and weaknesses before I had them over at Overbrook.
Right.
And so it just turned out to be a blessing. And we, the guys are buying into what we're doing. We're working hard. And I actually do anticipate us having an opportunity to play for the Public League Championship.
I'm so happy I did not have to do the system when I played basketball. I'm gonna tell you that right now because I played 4 years at Simon Gratz. So like, yeah, that I know the system just by watching it on 30 for 30, watching it. My dad telling me about it when you and Hank played there, and just looking at it in itself. And knowing that I switched over from playing basketball to playing football, I was like, nope, I'm not. I hope they don't even bring the system to football. I don't care. I'm not running 100 yards in the hot weather with all that equipment on. I'm just not doing it. I'm just not doing it. So when it comes down to the regular season, I know y'all have a game on Monday. It's a very important game, correct?
Yes, that's our senior game.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the opponent we had, a team canceled we were supposed to play a team from New York.
Okay.
They canceled on us, so we're in the process now of replacing that game. But we will have a good opponent on that day. Our next game actually is tomorrow against MCS, which is a powerhouse in our. They're a good team in our division.
Mm-hmm.
Right under MOTEP and Constitution. They're a great team. So that's a game that we got to go in there and stay focused and win. And also we have West Philly coming up, which is, that's always been a big rival.
Yeah,
back in the day, West Philly, Overbrook. So that's like more than just that's more than a conference game. That's like the battle of West Philly.
Yeah.
So, that's going to be a big game coming up also in next week as well. So we finishing out. We got our last 4 games. Tomorrow, and then Monday is the senior game. That's our last home game. I'm hoping that we thinking it may be Del Castle.
Okay.
They may be coming down from Delaware, which is their good opponent. We scrimmaged them at the beginning of the season. So hopefully they will make the commitment. They gave like a verbal commitment, but we just gotta get everything edged in stone.
So y'all decided to play some teams that was out of state in the regular season, correct?
Oh, definitely. I wanted to make sure, because I know MOTEP, they were ranked like number 5 or 6 or 7.
Like in the nation, right?
In the nation.
Yeah, okay.
And now they're like 11th, I believe they are. So, they were playing a national schedule. So I wanted our guys to be playing. If we can't get a national schedule, we're going to be playing close to a national schedule, which is, we've had obviously playing them. We played St. Elizabeth's in Delaware.
Okay.
We've played League Bound Academy from New Jersey. We've played quite a few teams. We was hoping to play St. Farrell's Academy that came in. They were supposed to come in from the Bronx, New York. So we wanted to make sure we played a bunch of opponents that are not in our league. Yeah. Because our league, obviously, we're in the top division, so we're playing against the cream of the crop. But outside of that, you want to get some other competition that's not in your league, so that way, we make it to states. We'll be able to, it won't be a shock to some of the guys.
I'm excited for Monday. I can't wait to go down there and see this team because I know what Dobbins did. Well, I was like, okay, these guys are talented.
Right.
And I know seeing your live streams from the live streams that you did at the AAU in the summertime.
Right.
I'm like, these guys is dunking. These guys is athletic.
Right.
I'm like, are these guys really 15, 16, 17, or 18? Like, do they look that? They look like grown men. I'm going to just say that.
Well, we have some really athletic guys. We got a lot of young talent too. Ethan Kimble, my son, is on the team. And he was able to squeeze 3 dunks in so far during the season. He had one the other day.
What kind of dunks was they? Were they just regular dunks?
It was a nice little 2-hand dunk. So when you're a sophomore, you look forward to trying to get a dunk any way you can.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of underclassmen, and that's going to really help us. That whatever success we're having this year, the fact we have guys coming back next year is really going to matter. And there's an opportunity that my other son, Brendan Kimble, may be coming as well.
Oh, you're just bringing the family all over to the Overbrook, huh?
Well, that'd be a nice situation, to be able to coach, your boys.
Yeah.
And they're very athletic. They have a lot of potential, but they're going to be playing against a lot of other great, good talent as well.
Yeah.
And when the word of mouth, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a bunch of calls of people wanting to come over and play that style of play.
Yeah.
What other system, well, put it this way, it's a great opportunity to have to be coaching a pro offense by a former pro player.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of freedom in the system to, shooters are expected to shoot every time they're open. Like literally, every time you're open.
Yeah.
And so
you got to at least be down the court, but at least less than like what, 10 seconds?
Well, about
four or
5 seconds. Yeah.
That's from what I remember. Yeah.
And so, we're just hitting our stride now, because it's later in the season. So when we played Imhotep, for example, we didn't full court trap them the whole game. So they kind of got a gift that day. We just kind of played it conservative.
Right.
So what we do is we full court trap the whole game, and that's what we do. And we believe the condition is going to work to our favor, and we're going to trap the whole game and run the whole game, and the rest is going to be history.
So my question to you is this: how did Bo teach you the system?
Oh well, I actually sat back and just watched him teach them, and I knew a lot about the system from watching back when he played in it for Paul Westhead. So I've been around it the whole time. So I just my style of coaching is similar, up tempo, trapping, and So when we got together, obviously, the system actually is a different level of up tempo. Right. So you combine that with, and we kind of use some of the stuff that I do, as far as traps and stuff like that. Yeah. But for the system verbatim, just up and down, up and down, up and down. It was easy for me to learn. You know what I mean? Because I'm actually a basketball player.
Yeah.
Some of our guys, the system make you question, like, do I really want to play?
Yeah. Do I really want to play basketball? You be sitting there with your hand on your head and on your knees, like, my God, did I pick the right sport?
Right. The good thing is that your opponents, like I tell the guys, your opponents feel, if you're tired, they're exhausted.
Right.
Because this is what we do every practice, day in and day out. When most teams are in practice now and they're practicing running their sets, right, against us, you don't get to run your sets. We're trapping all over. You're almost forced to play schoolyard ball. So,
right.
And when you're playing against teams like Imhotep, I know Bo spoke about that. One thing that I always tell people, I say, they came out and they blew us out, but they did. That was a part of the schedule that I didn't set. We got them the beginning of the season, second game. Yeah. So it's like, oh God, we got them already. Now we're a whole entirely different team than when we were in the beginning. You know what I mean? Beginning, a lot of our guys were, they would just learn the system. So now everybody got it down packed, and like I said, Imhotep is ranked, but it would be a different game if we played them now.
Man, I'm like in shock about this because it's like everywhere y'all go. No matter if it's like y'all going to implement the system, it could be a team that haven't won all year long, right, and then come back and then y'all put the system in and like they act like they knew the system for the 4 years that they were there. So it's just all about the experience of the coaches teaching the kids. Because even though that I never coached, I coached little kids when it came to basketball. I didn't go any higher than 12, but I was always an up tempo kid. I was always up tempo. I didn't run the system. But I make sure they push the ball up the court. Right. So when it comes to coaching, I can understand that teaching is first before you actually can execute. Before you have to actually teach a system. You have to teach a strategy. Oh, this is how you have to do this. Because if you don't teach them and they just go out there and think they could do whatever they want, it's going to look unorganized.
Yeah, and with our system too, we put a lot of pressure on our opponents. So no matter what your ranking is, no matter how great of a scorer you are, whether you are a guard or a big guy, right? Nobody loves being pressured the whole game. Nobody loves people in their face the whole game. Yeah, and that's what we do. So we're going to put our opponent, no matter great shooters are great shooters, right? But are you a great shooter with pressure and you're exhausted? See, that's where the X factor come in. That's where the conditioning comes in. And you pretty much, whatever your opponent's strategy is, we're going to take you totally out of that. You cannot run anything that you've been doing all season. So now you just got to deal with what we're doing with the full court trap, the half court trap. And again, we also part of the system also is with us shooting so early on offense, you get at least about 10 to 15 offensive rebounds. So that's extra possessions there. Our opponents usually average about 20 to 25 turnovers. So that's 25 possessions there. So if you can't beat your opponent after getting 40 extra possessions per game, then it might not be your night. Right. But for us, as long as we keep the tempo going, really sprint back on D, are capable of playing with and beating anybody on a given night. And that's what I love about our team. We don't have to kind of give in to anybody, change our strategy at all, no matter who we playing. But people will have to adjust to what we're doing.
Now, speaking of Lower Marymount, right? I'm gonna talk about it. Is a few players on this Overbrook team that reminds you of when you played at Lower Marymount and you watched it? Is there any player right now that you see that like, oh, that he could be the next Corey Gaines, or he could be the next Bo Kimble, or he could be the next Hank, or any of those players that played at Lower? Do y'all see anybody in that far as that potential goes?
We have Nashawn Jones, our point guard.
Okay.
He's fast like Terrell Lowry and Tony Walker.
Okay.
He can go north and south extremely fast, put pressure on the defense. Actually, he's almost impossible to stop when he's in go mode.
Okay.
Then we have Omar Davis, as we mentioned. He's a really good shooter when his feet set. So that's good. And then we do have a couple four men that play the four position. Ethan's young, but he's coming along. We have a guy by the name of Shy. He's playing pretty well as well. And then we have a guy by the name of Tymer, who's young as well. And so these are young players playing that system. So we have a couple people that remind me of a younger version of that team. And so what they have to learn as young players is you can't give in to the fatigue. They're better now than they were in the beginning of the season,
right?
And that's but conditioning wise, we're programming them that mentally you can go far more further than you can go. Even though your mind says you're tired, you can go way further. And I learned that at Loyola Marymount, and that's what I'm teaching these guys now.
Same players for you?
Yeah, I think I would say Nashawn Pop Jones. He's definitely. For me, our MVP. A lot of people look at his size and stature and say, "Oh, he's about 5'4", but he's one of the best. He's one of the best point guards in the whole public league. So he's probably like second or third in assists right now in the whole public league. For us, he's averaging about 14 points and about 8 or 9 assists a game. So he's those other guys, Omar Davis, great shooter. A lot of people don't know, our record's 12-7. Early on, Shafir Hall, who he mentioned, and Tamir, those guys were injured. So we dropped a few games early that I think otherwise we would have won. Obviously, Tamir's a starter. He's our starting power forward. Shafir is our sixth man. He comes off, and he normally backs up because he's about 6'6", whether it be Mike James or Tamir. So losing two of your big men at the beginning of the season, ankle injury, shin splints and stuff like that, like those guys were out. And, I know people look up and say, I don't never make no excuses, but, we still won the games we were supposed to win, but we dropped a few. But like I said, those are the guys on the team that I think, like when you look at Mike James as well, Tamir, I call Baby Zion. I call him Baby Zion. He's built like Zion Williamson. He's explosive. He has the same body style. He's definitely athletic like him,
right? And
he leads our team in blocks. So he's somebody that if he's coming down on the break and you don't cut off the lane, he will go up and flush it on you. So we call him Baby Zion, and obviously Mike James would be considered the closest person that would be Hank Gathers was he's a legend. Hank Gathers.
He's a one of a kind. You would never see another Hank Gathers in the NBA. Right. I'm just being honest with you.
I don't see nobody in the NBA now that's Hank Gathers.
Right.
The heart and that he played with, leading the nation in scoring and rebounding. He was just a monster.
Yeah.
Now when you look at Mike James, he's about 6'6", 6'7". His stature, when you look at him, you like, oh wow, he's built similar to Hank because his size, one of the biggest guys in the public league. But like you said, he only been playing ball for a few years, and last year they won one game. But he does have all around skill. He's definitely a double guy, and he would be, when you say, all right, well, who's the Bo Kimble, who's the Hank, you would look at him and say, oh well, he would be the closest thing to Hank Gathers that we would, even nobody that we bring in next year is what he is to the team, blocking shots, grabbing rebounds, and playing old school basketball, back to the basket basketball.
You said you was 12-7.
Yes.
So when it comes to those 7 losses, who was the best team that you lost to? Because sometimes it could be, okay, like I said, you played Imhotep early and y'all wasn't ready.
Right.
who was the best team outside of, I'm gonna say Imhotep, outside of Imhotep, that that was y'all greatest, that was your best challenge, and still y'all be like, okay, we still should have won this game.
I'm gonna say, well, the toughest team outside of Imhotep was probably St. Elizabeth's from Delaware. Okay. They got up and down with us. They were very well coached. They moved the ball really well. I mean, they just never stopped running with us the whole game. And they had a deep bench as well. So most teams that we played, obviously we played Sankofa and we played Constitution. Those teams ran with us as well. But Sankofa, we lost in overtime, which was a high scoring game. We had everybody foul out. We were down like our last 5 or 6 guys. So, that one slipped out of our hands. Missed call here, missed call there. Constitution was another game that we led. Those guys ran with us as well. Those are games that I think when we see those opponents again, those are definite wins. I expect our guys to come out and really, it's one thing when you play a team one time, the first time it's like a shock.
Yeah.
When you come out against Imhotep, all the hoopla, Justin Edwards, #1 player, this and that.
Yeah.
Our guys are, you kind of like, it's kind of like if you see Bo Kimble, you're like, oh, if you don't know him, it's like, oh, you starstruck for a minute.
Right.
So, the guys were a little starstruck a little bit, my personal opinion. And now that they, we got a whole season under our belt, it's like business as usual. Guys, they're hungry. And like I always tell everybody, it's a difference between ball players and guys who like to play ball.
Yeah.
And
it's a big difference.
It's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? So, some of our ball players are, starting to reel in some of these guys who's on our team that just like to play ball.
Yeah.
And, the good thing is out of all of that, everyone is student athletes and they're doing the right thing. And now I think we're on the right track to make a run for the championship, which is hopefully, we can get a good seeding when the playoffs come. And definitely if, not win the championship, win our classification, which is 4A. We are the favorite to win that, which is, it's kind of like, in college basketball, winning your conference. You know what I mean? You win the 4A, that we will be considered the best 4A team in the whole public league. So we won that at Dobbins when we were there. We won the 3A classification. So we did put another banner up besides when Bo and them won the championship. I know it ain't a championship, but it's a banner.
And one of the things I can say about some of our losses this year, we lost because we didn't do what we were supposed to do.
Right. Okay.
And it's a beautiful situation to be in. And I'm trying to teach the guys that when against really good teams, you can't play 70% effort and beat a really quality team.
Yeah.
And each of those losses, well, at least 5 of the 7 losses was games that we didn't sprint back on D. Right. We didn't take care of the ball. We didn't put the kind of energy and effort in that our opponents we didn't match their level of play. Right. But we didn't do the things that we would normally do. Yeah. And we kind of gave, part of being a young team, we gave those games away. If we would have played our normal level of intensity and effort, we would have won those games. So they're learning that, hey, we got to step it up. We got to play at a certain level every night, and 70% is not going to beat quality teams. So that's encouraging for me to know that, hey,
it's usually like the minor things that you just have to fix after a loss. Like if you look at it, like you said, getting back on defense or you missed an assignment. It's something that's definitely teachable. In practice, because you practice how you play. Right. So when you practice how you play and you slack in practice, that means you're going to slack in the game. If you don't get back on defense, you're going to do it in the game. So all them young guys that's trying to go into high school right now, learn from your coaches. Don't be a hardhead just because you a star or because you feel like you this big time coming into high school. Learn from the best. These two right here.
And that's why another thing, one thing that Bo said that he always say to the guys is, none of you guys have accomplished anything. So, you should come in here, want to work hard and just want to go out there and, give 100%. Right. I always give them the story and I always tell them, I say, listen, I was there in the gym with Bo his last year, right before his senior year coming in, passing him the ball when he's taking his 1,000 makes, in there 2 hours, 3 hours pitting in. And I know the work that was put in. And we was joking the other day, and I said, I feel like I had a hand in there. When he made it, it was like, yo, my hand was in there. I had a little something to do with that. You know what I mean? And on our team, we have one kid that I didn't mention, Jaden Robinson. Mm-hmm. That's the type of work that he puts in. Every day he's, up at 6 a.m. He's, doing his push-ups. He's getting his shots up. He's working on his ball handling. He's constantly getting better. He actually had he was our best player throughout the summer.
Right. Okay.
6'5". Reminds me of like a baby Kevin Durant because his frame, he can shoot. He has the pull up. He's super athletic. But he had a torn quad. Okay. So once he went down, we were able to win games in the summer and do stuff that, in preseason tournaments that we played in. Once we got him back, he had to kind of get back. It's kind of like when you blow your knee out, tweak your ankle, you got to get that confidence back. And now he's coming back into his own now. And now we've been rolling with him, getting his little 20, 24, 17, and early on he was like, 12, 10, and he wasn't himself. So he had to gain his confidence back. But when you look at our team, he's the one guy I want to point out that when you putting in the work, he listens to Coach, to Bo, and he says, you know what? He wants to go. Everybody doesn't come and say, yo, I want to go to the NBA. Right. He's one of those kids that he says it, he puts the work in, he has a good support system around him with his father, and he's definitely putting it down,
Now, you said that he's like Kevin Durant. Hopefully he don't have the haircut as Kevin Durant.
No.
I'm just making sure because, like, Kevin Durant, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. But the guy he get paid millions of dollars and he has one of the worst haircuts in basketball.
You need to get one of these cuts.
Yeah, I think it's time for him to go bald. Him and LeBron James, I think both of them, it's time for them to go bald. LeBron James, I understand you're trying to add hair, use the road game or whatever, but it's time to go bald. It's the new thing right now.
They try to use the Beijing. They try to use the Beijing.
Because some of these dudes' heads in the NBA, you be seeing like, God, like when the last time you had a haircut? Like at least when I was growing up, and me watching basketball, Jordan and all those guys, they came in suits.
Right.
It was groomed.
Right.
Then you had the 2000s where you had AI come in and change the game with the jerseys, the baggy pants and stuff.
Right.
Now, I don't know what we seeing in fashion right now for the NBA.
Was it Russell Westbrook and all his outfits? Yeah. I
don't know what I'm seeing. I see high waters with these double penny loafers and I don't know what. It probably costs more than my salary, but hey, it's just not something that I will wear.
Right.
So, when it comes to the NBA, y'all all Sixers fans, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Making sure. How are y'all feeling about the 76ers this year?
Well, I like Doc Rivers. Obviously, I played, you might not remember this, but I played 2 years with Doc, and I got traded with Doc Rivers and Charles Smith from the Clippers to the Knicks. So I know and Doc played in the league for 16, 18 years. So Doc knows the game of basketball. I was extremely happy he came to the Sixers. Mm-hmm. He kept Embiid in the paint, which is why we've had a better season and kind of made, he improved the team dramatically. We're struggling this year.
Yeah.
But the last couple years, Embiid's play went up. Now, I'm happy to see that we got Harden.
Yeah.
And so, we're a young team, and I think they had some injuries too. But they just need to get get some rhythm, get some games under their belt right now. But right now it's really tough because I know they're struggling winning wise.
Yeah. And,
sometimes in pro sports, it's a business. So if you're not winning, unfortunately, they don't have a lot of loyalty in sports. But Doc is a great coach. He got a good team I think they can go in, if they can kind of regroup, go deep into the playoffs. But right now, you got Brooklyn, a team to beat. You got other great
teams.
Milwaukee, yeah, absolutely. So
probably like
they're playing
Toronto
Brooklyn,
too,
and they're playing
Miami, right?
Yeah, Miami. So,
and they're playing Brooklyn tonight. I like Doc as well. I think actually the Sixers are actually doing really well now. They actually just came off of that 5-game
winning streak. Right.
They won 5. They went on the road to the West Coast, won all 5 games. Prior to that, they had lost a few. Tyrese Maxey was out. Mm-hmm. And then Embiid went out for a quick minute. But before that, they had won like 8 or 9 straight. So they kind of like if I'm correct, I think they like second or third in the whole Eastern Conference.
Okay.
So I like the fact that Doc Rivers changed his style up. Like when he first got there, I seen how he was when he was with the Boston Celtics. But I see how he is now running the more of the Utah Jazz pick and roll with Embiid and James Harden.
Right.
I think that's really good, and that's actually been really successful for them because it's unstoppable. You know, it was unstoppable when Utah Jazz played. I think only Jordan got in their way. Yeah. So now they're running that same type of pick and roll, kind of pick your poison. James Harden going to the basket, or Joel Embiid for the dunk, or for the the little Karl Malone pull up little 12-footer. So I think that now that Maxey and they're finally full strength, I think they're going to make a run, and we ain't got to win the whole, be first, but as long as we finish second or third, I think we're going to make a run. Kind of like we did a few years back when we had Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
But this is a great time to be a Phillies fan with all the different sports. You got the Phillies making it to the World Series, even though we fell short, but it was still exciting.
Yeah, they definitely overachieved because nobody expect them to go to the World Series at all. They definitely overachieved.
And then now our Eagles are flying high and got one game away from getting to the Super Bowl and the best record in the NFL.
Yeah.
And strong at literally every position.
Right.
Threats at the running back position, threats with the wide receivers. We have the best, one of the top offensive lines, defensive lines. I mean, we're solid all the way. So barring injuries, I think we're the team to beat. So I'm definitely excited, being a Philly fan. I can get to brag against some of the Cowboy fans and all that.
Hey, I don't want to talk about the Cowboys on here because we'll be here all night talking about the Cowboys. So I definitely don't want to do that. So when it comes to going back to the 76ers, I like Doc Rivers. But I think you need to have a talk with him. I think it's time for the system to be in Philadelphia for the Sixers. I think you need to give Doc Rivers a call because you have Tyrese Maxey that could get up and down the floor so quickly. And he will be so awesome in the system as a point guard because he's so quick. When he gets the ball, he's literally up the court.
Right.
So Doc Rivers with me, my issue with him is that sometimes he doesn't make good adjustments.
Right.
And sometimes with Embiid being at the 3 majority of the game, I'm like, okay, he's not in no pick and roll. Why is he at the top of the key?
Right.
That's something that Doc Rivers has an issue with NBA. I understand that you want to have your stretch 5, you shoot the 3. You see it with Nikola Jokic. You see it with other centers in the league. But not 90% of your play calling got to be Embiid up there, So I like him, but I think it's the what's the word? I'm missing that word. I think it's the rotation that he has.
Yeah.
That's my only issue that I had with Doc is that, having a big man at the 3 and the bench is pretty okay. I think he could have went stronger with the bench, but it's starting to look like the Houston Rockets all over again.
So with before Doc came, what drove me nuts when I found out about this is that they kept Embiid on the wing because they were trying to open the lane for Ben Simmons, who didn't have a jump shot, which was ridiculous on his. It's actually ridiculous.
It still don't.
But it drove me nuts because the Sixers will never win a championship with Embiid shooting more than 3 to 5 3-pointers. It's not going to happen, not in my lifetime, and it's not going to happen in his. But if he stays in the paint area and IQ wise understand that you are unguardable and unstoppable inside the paint. We have a chance to beat anybody in the East Coast, East, West, it doesn't matter. But if we don't do that and you don't have that discipline and the basketball smarts, every time you shoot a 3-pointer, you're basically giving a gift to the opponent. You're not getting them in foul trouble. You're not scoring high percentage shots in the paint, and you're not bringing a ring at the 3-point line. You stay in the paint. We at least got a chance to have the kind of strong season that we had the last year or so. Yeah. That's a fact.
Yeah, I think that I agree with you on that. I think for some reason, Brett Brown and the coaches that we had there before, they somehow, even when Doc first got there, like Bo said, they had him in the paint, and now, he's in the paint a lot more than he was when Brett Brown was there.
Yeah,
he was taking more like 4 or 5, 6 threes a game. Then right now he's down to like 1 or 2. A few games I see him shoot 3, but that's when he's actually hitting. He is hitting at a higher percentage this year.
Yeah.
But he has, like I said, implemented that pick and roll. And lately, like I caught him on that 5-game win streak in out west, and they kind of beat up on everybody, the Lakers included, but that's what this game has turned into. The game is not like it was back in the day where everybody had, 7-footers. Now it's like guys like Joel Embiid, but most of those guys, Anthony Davis, they all stretch 4s or 5s.
Yeah.
So, that's the new thing. If you're a 7-footer, a 7'2", and you play with look at I don't know if you've been keeping up, but look at Manu Bol's son, Bobo over at Orlando. He's 7'5" with the handle and get to the basket, and he's a little frail, but he can do everything. You know what I mean? So when you look at that, you see him, you say, oh wow, where was he at? You look at over at what is that? Denver, with not just the big guy there, but the other kid that did like 1 year. That he's about 7 foot himself at the power forward, but they're all stretch 4s or 5s.
Right.
And that's the new thing. Anthony Davis, all the guys when you look around the league, there's nobody that want to really post up old school back to the basket. So I think that's what the league is turning into. So when these next couple drafts, even in college, you don't really see, even with Villanova,
right.
All of their guys were, guys that can, drive, kick out, and, if you're a 5-man, you can, catch and shoot, trap, be a little bit more, versatile getting up and down. You're not just, the old school, get down, post up, rebound, outlet, run rim to rim. You don't have those guys no more.
And do you think that's because of the rule changes in the NBA too? Because you have that 3 defensive seconds in the lane, and we already knew the 3 seconds in the lane on the offense side. We already knew that, but they changed it to the defensive side. Do you think that now is a little easier to drive to the basket for guards or just centers to get their way because we don't have that rim protector like we used to back in the day?
I think that Golden State changed that. Golden State, when you look at their style of play, even when they won their first championship after Mark Jackson got let go, he was the one that put that team together. But when you looked at their make of their team, Draymond and all those guys, even their big guy, I forget his name that they have in the middle. He's a guy that, he's a floor space. He rebound, outlet, but get out of their way. And they were more of the pick and pop, drive and kick, which is the closest thing to the system. They're up and down. They're not trying to hold the ball for 24 seconds. They're running, quick motion plays, quick hit sets.
Right, yeah.
So they were the people seeing their make, and they won, back to back, and they like, wow. Okay, we gotta, in order to compete with them, we can't have no big 7-foot guy out there that can't get up and down, because Draymond Green is getting up and down. He catching off the rim and going, full court. You know what I'm saying? So I think they were the first ones that actually start changing the game with their style of play, with the smaller or the stretch 4, stretch 5s.
And with the NBA, by the way, you can't run a system in the NBA. That's why Magic got Paul Westhead fired. He was like, I'm not running that fast, and it's too many games. It's too many egos. It can never work in the NBA running that system. Also, the game has changed as well. Back in the day, you couldn't touch anybody. Look at all the physicality when I was playing when during the Jordan area. You could put your hand on guys hitting. Right now, you can't touch guys.
Yeah, you can't even hand check.
So if you couldn't touch Jordan would have like 70 a game.
Yeah.
If playing in today's rule, and I know I would do very well as well. If I averaged 35 in college and I was playing in a system, that was up tempo like Golden State.
Right.
I think I could get 40 a night as well. If you can't touch me, being a scorer, I can get to the lane.
Yeah, because it's so easy now with the centers not being like the rim protectors like they used to be. So, if I still had the game that I had, I could probably be in the NBA too. Let me average like 28, 30. I'd be fine with that.
Just shoot it every time. That's
I'm just a shooter. I'm a pass first type of guard. I don't really care for scoring. I was just talking crap. I'm just more. I'm more like I don't want to say Eric Snow, but I give Eric Snow defensively and assist wise, but I was never a really true scorer like that.
I always told out, like I tell our guys all the time, and I'll be serious about it. I said, I wish that I could have played now.
Yes.
During this time right now, because my mindset alone would have got me through. Like, like when I played, I mean, first of all, the level of competition is not what it was back then.
Mm-hmm.
In the 80s, when Bo was coming up, like when you heard that Bo and Aaron McKee, when those guys went to the league, they earned going to the league. They actually, the people that they beat out to get there, it's like, whoa, this guy was a playground legend. He was awesome. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now it's like, is it just a whole different, like, I'm looking at some of these guys, I'm like, yo, if I played in the system, I would average 40.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, are you telling me all I gotta do is be in shape? Oh, don't worry about it. I'm gonna be in shape. I'm gonna be doing my own wind sprints. I'm gonna be doing my own suicides.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be shooting my own. I may not shoot 1,000. Look, I joked with Bo the other day. I said, yeah. I said, if you was my coach, I'd say, yeah, I shoot 1,000. I shoot 200 makes. Yeah. But yeah. I just think now, just coming through high school and with the AAU outlets, all the trainers, all the different exposure camps back in the day, there was only like 6-star. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you got so many different, the IYBL and all these different other sites where you can get exposed and get out there. Is easy.
Right.
And now, for pro, like for a lot of guys, you might shoot for the NBA, but guess what? You got overseas. Overseas got like 4 or 5 A league, B league, C league.
And then now you got to think about it too with the NIL coming in.
Right.
So some of them might not even go overseas now because they have the NIL deal.
Listen, I know. I read there's a couple of high school students with the NIL that's making, before they even get to college, is making the kid there's another kid that's at Kentucky that made 6 figures or 400,000 or 500,000, and you ain't even made it to the league yet. And it's like you said, the NIL is big, man. For people making money.
I need the NIL to sponsor this podcast. I'm serious because I'm making a little something nice, but I ain't making no 6 figures. Right. What? Man, I wish we had that chance back in the day to have NIL deals in college, man. Yeah. Well, you probably had NIL deals, but it wasn't an NIL deal. Right. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but hey.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just here so you don't get fined.
Right.
Marshawn Lynch style. So let's get to the last topic here, and it's not basketball, but we have the championship games, this weekend for the NFL. We had the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals. Of course, the Philadelphia Eagles and the 49ers. Any predictions from y'all? Because I could tell y'all my predictions. Y'all probably won't like it. But
I have my prediction. I believe the Eagles game and 49ers game is going to be tough. 49ers are a really good team. Mm-hmm. Their defense is extraordinary. They got one. I think their defense, and he led
number one in the league.
Yeah, number one in the league in sacks. Like they're relentless, and obviously they're well coached. Offensively, with McCaffrey coming over, great running back. Elusive, reminds me of he's like a old version of like Barry Sanders, gets through the lane, elusive, and so they're that's going to be a tough game. You know what I mean? On the other end, I believe Cincinnati. I think they're going to. I think it's going to be. If I had to make a prediction, I would say Cincinnati and San Francisco. That's just
And you know what? Even though I live in Philadelphia and I'm not an Eagles fan, but I respect what the Eagles have done this year.
Right.
Because I was not a fan of Nick Sirianni. I was not a fan of him last year because my Las Vegas Raiders did beat them last year. So I'm happy we didn't play y'all this year. I'm happy about that because my Raiders definitely regress and not progress. No story for another time with that.
Well, I think my prediction is the Eagles will be playing Cincinnati.
Okay,
and I believe we're going to beat them.
Yeah, if the Eagles make it, if they get past San Francisco, they're winning the Super Bowl. There's no question about it.
I'm not going to count out Joe Burrow just yet. I'm just not. I think for him having the experience being there last year and losing to the Rams, I think he learned his lesson from that. My only problem that I had with Philadelphia is that their secondary can be a little bit too cocky.
Right.
And it kind of like hinders them a little bit because even in that Dallas game, that 4th and 18 that T.Y. Hilton caught from Darius Slay,
Right.
I was livid. As a former defensive player, which I didn't play corner, but I played the line, but still, like, 4th and 18, you don't give up 20 yards,
Right.
you know? So it's the minor things that the Eagles going to have to fix, especially against Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, McCaffrey. They have just as many weapons as Philadelphia.
Right.
Yep.
And I think I got the 49ers by 3,
Right.
but I would not say it's going to be a walk in the park game. It's not.
Well, I want, like, although I'm a Cowboys fan, the one thing I can say is that game, obviously, the quarterback didn't play for the Eagles, and he's the difference maker for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Like, when he's there, I think the only team that beat them was the Redskins. And I don't even think he was there for that. But
the Commanders, right?
Right, I said the Redskins. The Commanders, yeah.
You old school. I feel it. I understand.
Hey, listen, my wife, that's her favorite team. I call them the Commodore. She gets so upset.
You know what? I said that to somebody because somebody at my job is a Commanders fan. I said, "Oh, they the Commodores. They all right. They all right." So, I like KC, but I'm gonna have to go against KC here because that's my division rival. I do not care for the Kansas City Chiefs. But I'm taking Cincinnati. But I would not be surprised if Philly won this game, though. I'm not going to put it past them. I like the 49ers a little bit better. But no matter either team wins, the NFC is going to probably win the Super Bowl again, basically. But I'm not going to put it past Joe Cool, which is Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase and them boys. They have an underrated running back, Joe Mixon, that doesn't get talked about a lot. Mm-hmm. Same thing for Miles Sanders. He don't get talked about a lot for the Philadelphia Eagles because they run back by committee. But I like either teams in the Super Bowl. It doesn't really matter to me. But my prediction is 49ers and Bengals. That's my prediction, but I'm not going to put it past.
Yeah, we predicting the same thing.
Yeah. Well, we know why you predicted the same thing. Them Dallas Cowboys, man, they just an accident waiting to happen. Another story, another time for the Dallas. We could talk Dallas all day. I know a few content creators that talked about Dak being on the move. So y'all paid them all that money.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna be honest. If it's up to me and I'm on that staff, that gotta go. I mean, you paid them all the money, you keep them this year, next year, the year after. It's the same picture from the last 2 years.
Sound like Derek Carr to me. They sound like because Derek Carr getting paid $40 million.
Right.
They trying to move on from him, but the cap hit.
Right.
That's the only thing that's going to hurt trying to move both quarterbacks.
Right.
Jalen Hurts. He's going to get paid next year.
Yeah, he's a monster.
And he should.
Yeah, he's a monster.
I mean, he proved that, he came in and there was a lot of questions about could he pick up his level of play?
Yeah.
Could he stay in the pocket?
Right.
And he's proven all of that to be that he can, and he's making good decisions. He's having a MVP season.
I think he is the MVP. Over Patrick Mahomes, over Jamar Chase, over Kirk Cousins. Because they put out the 5 earlier today. I think it was Jalen Hurts, Jamar Chase, Patrick Mahomes, and I think it was Joe Burrow was in there too. Right. But I'm taking Jalen Hurts to be the MVP.
Patrick Mahomes, if he was 100%, I'm never going against him. I mean, I'm only picking Cincinnati because I know he had that severe sprained ankle, and but if he's 100%, he's Superman. To me, he's the best quarterback in the league. I mean, throw off the wrong foot, he can do all the stuff that you're not supposed to do. Throw across the field, throw across his body.
Look passes in the NFL.
Oh man, he's the Michael Jordan right now. He's just making it look so easy, and he's doing it. He's proving it. Without the weapons, he lost Tyreek Hill to Miami. Yeah. He lost the running back the one running back that went to Cleveland. I forget his name, but he's doing it like literally without. He's doing it like what Donovan McNabb did the 1 year when he didn't have no receivers. No receivers. You know what I mean? You're literally doing it without. That's how you know if you're good or not. Right. So he's not throwing a bunch of interceptions. When he severely sprained his ankle in the playoffs, came back in hobbling.
It's still one on one leg.
Yeah, it looked like Bill Russell out there.
Right. But I'm pulling for Andy Reid too. The Eagles. The Eagles is always number one, always. But I can't believe we let Andy get away. A lot of people wanted Andy gone a long time ago.
Yeah. Speaking of Andy Reid, just imagine KC and Philadelphia in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That would be a storyline that a lot of people don't talk about. Right. But that would be a storyline going up against his former team. Didn't win a Super Bowl with them back in 2005.
Right.
And now you get to play against them. I think that's a crazy storyline.
Well, I would love to see that as a fan, because I'd be happy for Andy to get there. But to be quite honest, for the best interest of the Eagles, I don't want to see Andy because he got a bunch of trick plays. Right. I mean, he's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
And one of the best coaches, like hands down, one of the best coaches ever, coached.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question about that. So I don't, even though it'd be great as a fan to see that excitement, but I not when it comes to selfishly wanting the Eagles to be on top.
I mean ratings
going
would
against
be great.
Mahone, what's that?
Ratings would be great.
It'd be off the chain. Yeah.
It would be talked about all Super Bowl week about these two franchises, and it's going to be a really, really interesting championship weekend. I can't wait to see.
Well, I'll be there. So.
Oh, you actually going to the game?
I don't know yet if I'm going to the game, but I definitely will be in Arizona.
I need the income that you have to be going to these games, because I would love to go to an Eagles game, but the way them tickets is set up, not for my income. I can't do it. I can't do it. Because I took my dad to a few Eagles games, and it was okay seats, but I want him to get the best experience, So I'm gonna take him to one as soon as possible. Probably one next year. Gotcha. I see that. But I want to thank y'all for taking the time out to come all the way down to Rec Philly. Shout out to Rec Philly for all the equipment, everything, the setting, and I appreciate y'all. And I cannot wait to come down there on Monday to to do live commentary of the game. It's been a while since I've done it, and I'm happy to be doing it again because I'm pretty good on the commentary part. I'm pretty good on that.
Well, thank you for having us, and congratulations again for everything you're doing with the show, and keep up the good work. And known you for since you was a kid,
yes.
a baby crawling. I mean, literally, before you took your first steps,
right?
Like literally.
Right.
So. But no, just like I said, love your whole family, and just have known you guys for years, and so happy for you, and keep up the good work.
Yeah, I want to thank you as well, man. I appreciate even when we was at Dobbins, and you came out and did the game for us, and we really appreciate because you coming out, and like I said, I like to you commentate the game for the guys, and I know all of them appreciate it as well.
Yeah,
so and might I add, look, we had fun last time you commentated about our guy Zachary, Zach.
Oh man, I had some issues with him. Listen, I had some issues with him that I'm like, yo, but it was good for me to do that and see that because I kept it authentic. I kept it professional, but I kept it authentic at the same time. So it's just like I'm like, come on, Zachary, come on now. He's
like Zachary Campbell. He's like Zachary Campbell's not having a good game.
He's just not. He just was not having a good game.
To his credit, he laughed about it as well. But this year, Zach is playing really well.
Okay,
I mean, Zach and Kareem are the driving force behind Dobbins, who have only lost one game. Probably going to have the best record in the public league, and no matter what division you're in, if you win all your games, you're a good team. You know what I mean? So they've beat they beat a few teams that beat us. So I know that they are for real, and we know they're doing the same thing as we're doing. So I'm definitely excited, and when we're not playing them, I'm definitely rooting for them. Those are my guys over there. Yeah.
So how would it feel if y'all seen them in the playoffs?
Oh, I would love it.
It'd be great.
But listen,
I hope so.
I would love it. I would love it.
Yeah.
So both teams running the system. You know how to defend it. They know how to defend it.
Right.
I gotta commentate that game. Yeah. I got to. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, I would love it, man. I think it would would just be everything. Everybody would be in on that game. I would rather play them. Me, actually, I would love to play at Dobbins. You know what I mean? That would be awesome. I would love to play on the little court. You know what I mean?
It was a little court. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little court. But y'all made it happen. Y'all made it happen. But thanks again, y'all, for coming down and taking the time out, coming straight from practice, getting prepared for, the games tomorrow and Monday. It's fun, man. It's fun to actually, talk sports with y'all. Just not all basketball. We talked about football a little bit too. It was fun. So Mom, Dad, you see them. They here. They here.
Hey. Hope to see you soon.
Yeah. Hopefully I can probably get them to come to a game. If it's on a Monday night or a Tuesday night,
Right.
My dad could probably come. My mom ain't going nowhere. You know, my mom, she don't do sports like that.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
She I don't know when the last time she been to one of my games when I played. I'm just saying, Mom, no offense. I'm just saying.
Well, look, I always have a great time seeing the Lloyd family.
Yeah,
So,
yes.
So.
I love all y'all, man. Y'all, listen, it's a pleasure.
And it's good that you know that we connected because honestly, I didn't know. I mean, until we got the film request and we just started, you know, talking and conversating and the bond is there. You know, it's family at the end of the day. And,
Absolutely.
And that's all that matters, you know. So even though we don't speak much, but when we come together, you see the chemistry there at the end of the day. So thank y'all again, man. I'm honored, even though that I know both so long, I still get starstruck.
I appreciate it, man.
And I, you know, sometimes I go back and watch that 30 for 30. I'm like, yo, I really know Bo Kimble. Like, it's crazy. And yeah, so thanks everybody for tuning into the show. Everybody that comment in the chat or listening from Apple Podcasts to Spotify to Amazon and iHeartRadio. It will be on all those audio platforms as well. So make sure y'all subscribe to the Darion Hopkins Show. We'll see y'all next week for episode 4. This is episode 3 of the Darion Hopkins Show. We out of here, y'all. Peace out.